case you haven't seen the first 3 episodes of the series, what you need to know is that this episode contains spoilers for Season 2, Episode 4 of Shadow and Bone on Netflix. Let's dive on in. Now, I am a huge fan of consistency, especially when it comes to casting, so I was thrilled to see that we had the same king and queen from Season 1. But who's this prick? This does not look like the Vasily I remember. And I really don't mind that they got a new guy for Season 2, but if they knew they were going to have to recast, why show Vasily in Season 1 at all? He added nothing to the plot anyway, and if they hadn't shown him, we wouldn't be in this position. Anyways, we're off to a rousing inaccurate start when Nikolai and Alina get engaged. But Alina does get permission to lead the Second Army, which is accurate. And then Mal is pouty about it, which is also accurate. But interestingly enough, he's pouty about the wrong thing. He doesn't want Alina running the Second Army because it puts her life at risk. And then Mal says that stupid line about how he only came back for her, not for the good of the country.
You came here for Ravka. I came here for you.
And y'all already know how I feel about that line. Cut to the Crows, and they're handing out costumes and compounds for their new plan to destroy Pekka Rollins. And while I loved seeing these scenes, they were also infuriating because they shouldn't be happening at this point in the story. This whole plan is a Crooked Kingdom plotline. And to round out this scene, Nina betrays Kaz, and like I mentioned before, this should have been Wylan. Back to Alina, we get to see her training with her new amplifier, and for some reason she can't do the cut. And I didn't understand the point of this change because in the books she could do the cut just fine. Like, what was the point of holding her back when all of Season 1 seemed to show how much more control over her powers she had than in the books? Then David shows up with more at Zova's journal. Now, in the books, David shows up with all the other Grisha refugees, and while Alina is wary of them, she generally trusts everyone. But apparently, nobody on the show has actually read Sage and Storm, because instead they send David to a holding cell because they can't trust him. And while I understand, given the context of the show, this makes more sense, I still don't like it. And suddenly, everyone and their mother knows about Mare Zost, and Alina wants to use it to tear down the fold. Thankfully, Mal convinces her that that would be stupid, but I think this whole scene is stupid because it shouldn't have existed in the first place. Mal discovers a magical sword that could potentially cut down the Nichevoya, and they decide to send the Crows searching for it. And while this wasn't in the books, and it did feel a bit unnecessary, I did like that they were finally coming up with a new plot for the Crows that wasn't stealing from Crooked Kingdom. Meanwhile, the Crows are dealing with their own shit. Nina takes Kaz to Pekka, but the plan has already worked. Kaz explains to Pekka what happened and how they won. He makes Pekka sign papers confessing to the murders he originally framed the Crows for, and he makes Pekka sign for Inej's freedom. And again, I find myself torn on whether or not I liked this scene, because I wasn't supposed to see it yet, but I did anyway, and I enjoyed it, but it's out of order, so I hated it. I don't know, just a lot of mixed feelings. Toya and Zoya agreed to join the Crows on their next mission, and I am so excited to see all these characters working together. That's going to be fun. Vasily has Mal court-martialed for deserting, which was a really dumb way to get him out of the picture for a while, but then immediately afterwards, Vasily proposes to Alina. Awkward. Pekka gets arrested after finding out his son was never in danger. Iconic. And Jesper and Wylan get together, which is way too soon, but at the same time, I'm absolutely thrilled. Kaz snaps at Inej for going off plan and rescuing slaves. He calls her a weak link and says she can take her freedom and leave. And I hated this. Kaz would have never called Inej a weak link or been mad at her for rescuing slaves. He would have understood. This whole subplot was poorly written, in my opinion. Then we're on to Nikolai and Alina's engagement ceremony at the spinning wheel, instead of Nikolai's birthday party at the palace, which was annoying. And of course the Nichevoya attack, killing Vasily and the king. And for some reason they made the Nichevoya so much more complicated than in the books. Because in the books, the Nichevoya are only defeated by Alina's light. It was simple. Show Nichevoya have to be solid when attacking prey, so as long as you can keep them amorphous, you're safe. Also, Alina's light doesn't work on them? Apparently, only the magical sword that they don't have yet does. And there's way fewer of them. There can only be like 2 at a time, which felt completely pointless. Then we get our first real Darkling vision, which I love to see, but why is it happening so late in the game? And why can everyone see her having the vision? She was supposed to think she was losing her mind. And while the Darkling is attacking the spinning wheel, Jinya and Baghra escape. And Jinya is now ruined looking, but she still has both her eyes, which was disappointing. I wanted to see her with an eye patch. Then everyone escapes into the tunnels, which have nothing to do with the Apparat, unfortunately. Adric does lose his arm, but not enough of it. And the Darkling follows them into the tunnels, which never happened. He and Alina blast each other with power, the tunnel collapses, and end of episode. Now, at this point, we're straying so far from the book that I'm beginning to lose faith in the show, but they do still have time to redeem themselves, so fingers crossed. But what did you all think of the show? Did you like this episode? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to hit all those other buttons too, so you can be notified when I post my next video review of episode 5 coming soon. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye!